Good afternoon. I'm going to follow up on some details from an officer-involved shooting that we had occur this morning. So I'll cover the details that I covered earlier this morning. At around 2:15 this morning, the sheriff's office received a 911 call reporting a armed carjacking that happened over on Lakeshore Boulevard, 1700 block of Lakeshore Boulevard, at the Oak Tree Apartments that are over there. The information came in to our 911 center, and that was provided by way of dispatch to all the units in the city, specifically in Patrol Zone 4 on the west side. About 15 minutes later, an alert observant patrol sergeant, 16-year veteran Sergeant Mike Moon, spots that vehicle. It is kind of a tan car, similar to the color of woman's hosiery, that he is able to spot up. He checks the tag, and it matches the carjacked vehicle. So he gets in behind the vehicle and follows the vehicle for some time. He's actually waiting for some other patrol officers to come assist him when the suspect must have seen him and begins to flee from him. Short distance later, he goes into another patrol zone across I-10 and is approaching the intersection of Stockton and Edison Street and miscalculated a turn. When he miscalculated the turn, he struck a concrete pole with the vehicle. Suspect then exited the car, and according to a proffered statement offered by Sergeant Moon's legal counsel, Sergeant Moon saw him exit with a gun in his hand. Sergeant Moon was still occupying his police vehicle and struck the suspect with his police vehicle. That caused that suspect to fall up on the hood of the car. And again, from the statement offered through his attorney, Sergeant Moon saw the suspect still in possession of the firearm while in his vehicle, fearing for his life because of the suspect who was on the hood of his car armed. Sergeant Moon discharged his issued firearm 5 times through the windshield of his car at the suspect. The suspect was struck twice, once in his right and once in his left biceps. The suspect got off the hood of his car and continued to run. As luck would have it, another officer from that patrol zone, the other zone, happened to be on a call right there at the intersection. Came around the corner when he heard the gunshots and was in the right place at the right time and was able to immediately take that suspect into custody. Fire rescue was called to treat. He was transported to UF Health and was treated and released. At that point in time, we took him back into custody there. As I mentioned this morning, our policy, Sergeant Moon was placed on administrative leave. I did mention this morning that we had blocked that intersection looking for a firearm, looking for the gun in the case. Our search yielded negative results. We did not find a firearm there at the scene. But what we did find was a simulated gun, and I'm going to just walk through a little bit of what happened with the carjacking case. So I mentioned this morning that we had 2 individuals who met the suspect at a convenience store on San Juan Avenue. Their story this morning was that they met him there. He asked them for a ride, and they took him to the Oak Tree Apartments. That story has changed a little bit, and they have flip-flopped from there to now tell us that they met him there at the convenience store, but a drug transaction was what took them to the Oak Tree Apartments. So they get over to the apartments. They worked to complete the drug transaction. Sometime during that drug transaction, that same suspect came back around to their car, produced what they saw to be a revolver, robbed them of the car, and takes off and flees in their car. The reported handgun that they saw matches the description of the simulated revolver that will be provided to you, and if it hasn't already, it will be in your package. This was recovered inside the vehicle, and this is actually a knife. It is a swing blade knife that opens, looks like a handgun closed, looks like a revolver closed. When it's open, the blade would come out from underneath the handgun and come out. This is not a firearm, but obviously it looks like it from it. It matches the description of what the 2 individuals who were robbed say that they saw. You know, this is less than 12 hours into our investigation of this officer-involved shooting. I'm not going to try to suppose and put together quickly how that firearm that was described by Sergeant Moon may have wound up back in the car, or if indeed that is or isn't the gun or weapon that Sergeant Moon saw. I will let you know that the investigation will continue, and a separate investigation, as in with every officer-involved shooting, is conducted by our state attorney's office. It's a separate investigation from ours, and once a decision is rendered by the state attorney, administrative review of that sergeant's use of force that's conducted by the state, where he's accountable for everything, what shots were within policy and or not. We're a ways away from done with this yet. Not and the suspect was quickly taken into custody that the other zone. We don't have all the answers. We're supposed to do investigation to what we have. This is currently under arrest and fleeing and attempting to elude a police officer. He is 26, 1214 LaBelle Street on the west side.
Any other items that might, I guess, at the time of the arrest that might conclude that it could be a gun in his hand?
Honestly, no. There wasn't anything that we were able to find either on his persons or in the immediate area that could have been confused. Other than this knife/simulated firearm, and again, I'm not going to try to suppose how it could have gotten from his hands and flipped into the car. This was a fluid thing. I don't know. We'll certainly go. And the suspect did admit that knife/gun was his.
Chief, in the picture, it looks we see some cans and stuff. Where was this picture taken? Was it taken? Did he ditch it in the garbage can? Was it?
No, this is on the floorboard of the car. So the car struck the pole. I don't know if you were able to see it out there, but it did strike the concrete pole. I don't know.
Dan, just clarify exactly. So you're saying that is not a gun, that is a knife?
That is a knife. That is not a firearm. In the photograph, if you look closely at it, on the barrel of the gun, you see a round dot. That is actually the hinge point where the knife blade would come out. It opens from underneath the bottom of the simulated gun and pops out where the barrel would come from.
Dan's going to TransUnion. How many
of the other individuals facing charges for their involvement in what you've learned to be a drug transaction?
We're still looking into that. Haven't really made our mind up yet, and the decision on whether or not to charge them could still be pending. They did, although not immediately cooperate when they were in our custody to provide that information. They flip-flopped their story and were able to tell us that this was indeed a drug transaction.
How many police-involved shootings has the sergeant been involved with, including this one?
Including this one, this is his third one, Dan. Okay. He had one shoot and miss, and then one hit case.
And how many? In what years? Do you remember?
I believe the hit case was in 2008, and I got to do a little bit more research. I was trying to find that answer for you today to find what the shoot and miss was. Chief,
people in Periscope are asking if the officer was injured, or is he injured at all? Reference the shooting.
No, luckily he's not. He's fairly well shaken up with this. You know, I've said it before during these officer-involved shootings. You don't get into this business wanting or wishing to deploy deadly force, and it's frightening when you do, and it really changes you in the way you do business forever. And luckily he wasn't injured or wasn't hurt.
5 shots fired total, and 2 of them hit the suspect?
Correct. Five total shots fired, all through the windshield of his vehicle. 2 of them struck the suspect, 1 in each arm, right and left.
Chief, we were told that a local business has surveillance video of the crash and ensuing incident. Have you been able to review it? And does that kind of help?
Well, that's part of what we're still doing. I didn't want to come out and discuss the particular details of that, but with every one of these shootings, that's what we'll look for. We'll look for some corroborating evidence, and that would be one of them that we will review, both for the administrative portion later and for whatever criminal investigation that we're conducting now.
Dash cam was available in the car as well? Is that running?
No, there is no dash cam in that vehicle.
Chief, with surveillance video like this available from the local business, I'm assuming that, allegedly considering that's not in every call you guys go on having that video evidence. Do situations like this show a need for dash cam or body cam general so that video evidence is always there to show what happened during a call?
You know, in the bigger sense of things, you can't argue the fact that more information provides more information, if you will. And the video evidence, be it from body cams or surveillance videos, is a part of what's taken into consideration. They're great, but they don't always answer every question, unfortunately. So
I'm sorry, he was on the hood of his car when the point he was shot. Was he facing toward the car? Do we know, away from the officer, or do we know?
The specifics of that, I'm not sure. I can tell you that the shots from the car were out of the passenger side of the windshield.
They were through the windshield?
Through the windshield.
Was he parked at that time he was firing, or was he in motion? Or?
You know, I'm not really sure. The vehicle, his police vehicle, came to rest in a wooden fence, and it was a very short distance within that lot at Stockton and Edison from where the suspect's vehicle was to where the fence was. So I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
And what time are you saying this shooting happened? Because you mentioned at the beginning of the events happening at 2:15 later. This officer spotted the vehicle believed to be in the carjacking. When were the shots fired?
It's about 2:35 is when the notification.
Earlier, I believe we had some information that was that it was a golden car, but are we now understanding this?
It was tan gold. It has that same look.
Chief, is Hastings in JSO custody now? Is he still, I mean, not in custody, but in jail, or is he still in the hospital?
Oh, no, he's released from the hospital. He's either with us over here in the Police Memorial Building or on his way to the pretrial detention facility.
And we saw that this morning there was another scene involving another tanish gold with like a Buick older model with evidence markers on it. Does that have anything to do with this case?
And that's not related that I'm aware of. Just this one vehicle was all that was involved.
Any other questions?
Also, just want to get your reaction to something else. I don't know if you heard about the former JSO officer involved in the shooting in Miami.
I did.
What's your reaction to that? And I guess there's some talk that it's believed it could possibly be terrorism related.
As a matter of fact, we've got Director Michelle Cook, who actually knew the officer, was going to make a statement on that. So if we're through with the officer involved questions, we'll turn it over to Director Cook.
Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Cook. I'm the Director of Personnel and Professional Standards, and on behalf of Sheriff Williams and the men and women of JSO, we just want to extend our support and prayers to Officer Starling and the men and women of his agency. I had the privilege of working with Officer Starling for about 5 years. In the early 90s, we worked up on the north side together. Great officer. I read an article where he was interviewed after his shooting this morning, and they said he was angry and very spirited, and that sounds just like Officer Starling. He's an officer's officer and a good man, and we hope we wish him a speedy recovery.
Any other questions?
What's the spelling of his name?
Starling.
Do you know what's going on with the investigation? If you were keeping yourself abreast of that, we're hearing that the suspect is being questioned here, and we're looking into whether or not it's an isolated incident of terrorism.
I do not know. I can't speak to their investigation down south. I did read what the chief of police identified it as an ambush, but beyond that, I couldn't speak to it.
And how are other members of law enforcement reacting to this, given other recent ambush attacks in the country?
Scared, angry, saddened. The men and women who serve in law enforcement put on this uniform every day, and they want to serve their community, and to know that these types of things are happening, it's scary. It's scary for the families of the men and women who go out and serve every day. And I hope this country, I hope these stop. It needs to stop. We need to stop this violence.
Ma'am, could you say and spell your first and last name one more time, please?
Michelle, Michelle, Cook, Cook.
And your title with JSO?
Director of Personnel and Professional Standards.
Any other questions?
When was he last here at JSO?
Late 90s, I believe 99 is when he left. He left as a patrolman.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.